Ben Bateman here for Red Carpet Report at the Film Independent at LACMA special screening of Preacher, about to talk to the geniuses behind the show. All right, Ben Bateman here for Red Carpet Report, talking to the one, the only Seth Rogen. We're halfway through the season, just about, of Preacher. How are you feeling about the reception so far?
People seem to like it. Yeah. It's nice. And I think, we set out to kind of evolve the show, and it's nice when people seem to be reacting to the evolution in the exact way you hope they would. So, it's nice. It's good.
You guys talked a lot when I spoke with you at the premiere last year about building the world, pre-season 2, right? That prologue sense of book 1.
Yeah.
But the reviews of season 2 have been so positive. They all keep saying it's a good thing they rebooted. And I'm wondering, do you look back on season 1 and feel like you guys did it the right way?
Yeah, for sure. As the analogy Sam has used many times is like we were kind of eating our vegetables before we were eating our steak in some ways, you kind of have to we were coiling up compressing the spring before we released it. I think there was a lot of backstory and a lot of world building to do in order to create a show where you can have a vampire and a guy with an angel demon baby inside him and have it feel like they're real people occupying a real world and not have it just feel like fucking nuts, Right. Yeah.
You guys have brought in, obviously, one of the most villainous people in American world history, really, in Hitler this season, and it's really been funny. I hate to say it. How did you get there? What did you guys go over the cast? Be like, you know what? Should we go with Hitler? Is there somebody better?
There's people who are better, but we knew hell would be a big part of the season, and we kind of thought if we're going to be in hell, Hitler's would be a fixture there, you would imagine, and we thought it would be an interesting way to explore the idea of kind of redemption and who belongs in hell and who doesn't, and does Eugene deserve to be in the same place as Hitler, and the idea of just exploring the world. A lot of the ideas come from they're part of the major conceits of the show is that there's a heaven, there's a hell, that the Bible is real, that and so some of the fun of it for us is to fully buy into that and say okay, if that's the case, what would it be like? How would it be? And would it be, would you start to question it if you were a devout believer of it? Would it seem strange that your roommate was Hitler? Those were the ideas that spawned the idea, basically.
Getting there was who's the most evil dude ever?
Yeah, and just how do you explore, how do you really explore the idea of redemption in hell and who belongs there and who doesn't, and if one of our characters is there, just what better way to explore that than having Hitler around?
Is he just a giant sissy? What's his deal, man? Is he
I don't want to ruin Hitler.
Okay. You don't want to ruin Hitler. Yeah. All right, moving away from hell, let's get up to heaven for a second. I want to talk about the sort of antiquated technology you guys chose to use to demonstrate the heaven fun, all this stuff. How'd you get there? What was the inspiration for it?
We like the idea that it's not all running well, that it's not this seamless machine. We kind of looked at a lot of old Soviet technology and kind of brutalist. Architecture and, the idea that it all isn't this beautiful, seamless thing, that it is made, and not updated necessarily.
Yeah.
To us, that was just, it was an idea that we could kind of wrap our heads around as far as as soon as you're into what the fuck do you make a phone that calls heaven look like? You got to start somewhere.
Changing gears a little, I was talking to Evan about this idea for a movie inspired by Firefest, because I was watching the coverage and I was like, when I see Seth and Evan, I have to ask them about this. I feel like that's the movie that needs to be made. Yes. And he said you guys are kind of already working on the idea.
We are with Lonely Island, yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah,
so,
it's going to be great.
So I'm the biggest fan of your guys' comedies. I feel like there's a through line between all of them. Obviously, the actors are similar in a lot of them. But with all of this expanded universe stuff that everyone's doing, where you want to build a universe, would you ever find a way to try to connect a bunch of your comedy films to live in the same world, build more movies within sort of the same characters?
It'd be hard. At one point, we talked about a Superbad Pineapple Express crossover sequel a very long time ago. And we just never did it. So, I don't know, I don't know. We made Pineapple Express 2, and this is the end. This is the end was so, kind of broke down every one of those walls
Right.
as far as like who we are and the things we've done. It felt like that was the real opportunity to kind of, if that was kind of a sequel to every movie we've ever made, basically, you know, because everyone from every movie we've ever made was in it and was able to talk about all those movies, you know.
The jokes from that movie, like how many of those were drawn from real conversations where you were like, remember that time that like Aziz said that thing? Like how much of that stuff was like original and how much of it was just written for the script?
I'd say it was like 70% written, 30% improvised.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but a lot of it was written based on things that we knew that had happened. And yeah, some entire scenes are improvised, and some scenes that are written word for word exactly how they were. And even me watching it, I would have a hard time remembering which one was which.
Sure, that makes sense. Last question. Just so many of the films all revolve around characters that just like love cannabis.
Yeah.
And that's a big topic of conversation right now. My girlfriend does a lot of content in that world, and the conversation that's been happening a lot is driving while smoking. It's like, is it okay? Like, what should be the limit? And like, I sort of want to know, as somebody who's staunch in that world, how do you feel about that?
I think like anything, it's different for different people. I've been with a lot of people who should not be driving while smoking. And I met a few people who it's probably not the worst thing they could be doing. So I wouldn't recommend it for most people. Yeah.
That's a fair answer.
It's a good rule of thumb.
Seth, thanks so much, dude. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that about wraps us up here, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We got to talk to everybody we wanted to. Please like, subscribe, leave your thoughts, leave your comments below. Let us know, what's your favorite episode of Preacher? What's your favorite Seth Rogen film? Check back for more videos every single week.